Boys will be boys. This is the most open administration that the United States has ever seen. We're airing our disagreements. Well, that was the sentiment of the White House press secretary talking about a fiery disagreement between Elon Musk and Peter Navarro. Navarro being the trade advisor, the chief trade advisor to President Donald Trump. Elon Musk being, of course, in charge of Doge in the Trump White House. Now, how come these two men, both advisors to the president, are at loggerheads? My name's Tom Harwood and this is GBN Originals. Well, the United States of America now faces 84% tariffs from China. Meanwhile, 104% tariffs are being charged on China. This escalation comes in the face of a clear disagreement within the Trump White House between two of his most senior advisors. Yes, it all started when Peter Navarro started to say that Elon Musk does not make cars, he merely assembles cars in the United States. This led Musk to use words that I'm not sure I should use here on this family program about Peter Navarro, one beginning with an R that has become quite a popular pejorative online in the last 12 months or so, but also saying that Navarro is dumber than a sack of bricks. Yes, those were the words of Elon Musk talking about the chief trade advisor to Donald Trump. Clearly, there are two very different opinions within the White House in terms of the benefits of free trade. Elon Musk has been on the record in the last week saying that there should be free trade between the United States and Europe. Yet other people around Trump, like Navarro, have been saying that tariffs are good because foreign imports are a negative economically. Now, most mainstream economists disagree with the view that imports mean less GDP. In fact, there's quite a lot of work that can prove that is not the case, dating back to 1776. Yes, that year not only the United States Declaration of Independence, but also the publication of another very important work, The Wealth of Nations by economist Adam Smith, the father of modern capitalism, the man who explained how specialization can make people better off. The idea that one place specializes in getting brilliant at making one thing, meanwhile another locality specializes in getting brilliant at making that thing. Then they can make those two widgets cheaper each trade and both are better off than if one tries to make everything themselves. That's the economic theory that's underpinned the growth and success that we've seen across the world over the last 200 or 300 years. And yet, seemingly, we've got Mr. Navarro, the chief trade advisor to Donald Trump, suggesting that this is not such a good system.
Us blokes hate talking about a little thinning up top, and many of us settle with that balding look, but that wasn't for me, and that's why I went to Elite Hair, the world's leading hair loss clinic, and now I've had over 4,000 new hairs added to this barnet, and very soon I'm going to be rocking some brand new flowing locks. And you can too! So how does it work? Step 1, I sent the team a set of photos of my head. Step 2, I then spoke to one of the Elite Hair staff who looked through my photo submissions and worked out a treatment plan for me. Step 3, Elite Hair then organised accommodation and the treatment. I was at their state-of-the-art treatment centre in Istanbul, and their incredibly kind staff took me through the process, and before I knew it, I was in surgery. Elite Hair and their leading medical experts have specialised in pain-free treatments using the sleep deep method, and they really mean that. I felt incredibly relaxed the whole time, and I haven't felt any pain since. Check out Elite Hair using the link in the description. When you do, Elite Hair will provide you with a free personalised hair analysis. Then you'll join over 100,000 happy patients. Hit that link and start your hair growth journey like I did today!
Navarro himself ran for elected office in California back in the early 1990s under a platform of no growth. Yes, really. That was back when he was a Democrat, and for a long time he was part of that anti-growth Democrat tribe. But as the Trump movement grew, Navarro switched sides to the Republicans, although perhaps, at least some of his enemies maintain, he has not changed his minds on the demerits of economic growth. Well, at least that's what some would say. Perhaps that's why Elon Musk has been quite so fervent in his disagreements with Navarro. But what does all of this mean for you, for me, for everyone in the rest of the world? This disagreement at the top of the Trump administration, and frankly, this tit for tat with regard to Chinese and American tariffs. tariffs. This growing trade war might other countries follow in retaliatory tariffs to what Trump himself declared retaliatory tariffs to start with? Could the retaliation follow the retaliation in a game of ping pong that raises prices for everyone in between? Well, we sat down with a political expert to find out more.
So this is an ideological battle that really shows you where the American right is in terms of an ideological shift. Peter Navarro was somebody that was a Democrat for the vast majority of his career, and he was somebody that had progressive values when it came to protectionism of industry. Elon Musk is not that. He comes from far more of the libertarian wing of the Republican Party, and they found common cause when it came to Donald Trump when he was running. But now that the rubber has very much met the road, you have Peter Navarro, who is very steadfast and has been forever about tariffs, and Elon Musk, who not only philosophically does not agree with it, but very much monetarily does not agree with it either, as he is somebody that is dependent on China for Tesla and many other things.
But we've seen in the White House press briefing room the administration's bizarre response to this open warfare. What did the press secretary say?
She said, boys will be boys, and they were going to allow the public squabbling to continue. Now, that might across the pond seem odd, but that is very much on brand for the Trump administration, for those of us who have watched it day in and day out. Donald Trump is not squeamish when it comes to conflict amongst his staff, and it is interesting that at times we revere that in America, and sometimes we call it the team of rivals, as Doris Kearns Goodwin called it, and it was labeled to Obama's administration. And, this is a little bit different. I don't remember anybody in Obama's administration using the kind of slurs that I'm not even allowed to say on this very genteel network that Elon Musk has called Peter Navarro. But it is certainly something that they do not shy away from, the Trump administration.
Yes, definitely a war of words there. Justin, I wonder if you've seen this video campaign that's coming out of China mocking US citizens. Let's have a little watch.
So this is the video posted to TikTok. We don't know precisely the origin, but did come from a Chinese account, showing what purports to be American citizens,
obese ones,
working in what can only be described as sweatshops, making clothing, including bras, trainers, iPhones as well. Is this China sort of mocking America, perhaps on the regression path that it might be on if it becomes the sort of economy that China used to be 10 or 20 years ago?
This has really been a failure of the Trump administration to give any kind of singular vision to this, because you have some folks that are out there from the Trump administration, like Doug Burgum, talking about how reshoring American manufacturing is a future forward idea, that with AI and robotics, these kinds of factories are not going to look like the factories of the 1950s, and certainly not like the factories in some of those towns in China currently. Rather, it's going to be a big, gleaming, beautiful future. And then you have somebody like Howard Lutnick, who is out here arguing, no, don't worry, your kids will be able to screw tiny screws into iPhones, which is not something that I think a lot of Americans are really excited about. So that is certainly a ripe parody, an AI video of a bunch of people from the middle of America sewing their own gloves together. But it is a curious moment, because right now we still don't know, is this a negotiating tool or is this a reality? And if it's a negotiating tool, then I think you have a lot of people that are nervous about it, that understand it, that Donald Trump's going to unplug the world economy and then dare everybody to have him plug it back in and see what he can get for it. If it's the new reality, then there's a lot more strident questions that are going to come out, and probably even nastier words than Elon Musk has called Peter Navarro.
Perhaps. Justin Young, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. You're the host of the Politics podcast, and an American political commentator, of course. I mean, he's suggesting it's a negotiating tool, isn't he? On his Truth Social account, he's talking about how the Japanese are coming over and discussing things, how other countries are coming over and discussing things. He's open to having all of these meetings. So there you go. Fingers crossed, Tom.
Fingers crossed, but my goodness me, we're hearing a different thing out of the Trump administration almost every other day.
I don't know, he's been tweeting, he's been truth socialing the same thing for days.
But his chief trade advisor, who's the guy that came up with this tariff scheduling around the world, seems to believe that the United States must have completely balanced trade with every country around the world.
Oh yeah, he does sound a bit of a nut-nut.
And he's written in the past, repeatedly, that a trade deficit, if you import more from a country than you export to it, that's equivalent to a knock in your GDP. That is so outside of the mainstream of economic opinions.
Yeah, he's not a free marketeer at all. In fact, very much the reverse.
Yeah, and when he ran in the 1980s, 1990s, early 2000s, he was a Democrat. He ran to be the mayor of one of the cities in California on a no-growth platform.
Yeah, and not what you'd expect from the Republicans necessarily.
What do you make of that? Do get involved in the comments section below. Whose side are you on? Elon Musk or Peter Navarro? Well, there's much more to see in this waging war. Clearly, there will be more wars of words, more words traded, more insults thrown. We'll have a look at those and keep a close eye on them for you here. So do remember to stay subscribed to the GB News YouTube channel for more original content.